Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Can we talk about Raising Arizona? Yes, here we are. Can we talk about podcasts now? Waist deep into our movie excursion specials, bringing you something a little different this week. Bringing you a film from the 1980s, which...
We don't do that.
No. When was the 80s again?
That's 80 years ago, right?
Oh, of course, 80 years ago. Yes, so some early cinema we're going to be looking at today.
It's weird. I thought they had films that long ago, but technology is amazing, I guess.
Yes, it really is. But yeah. So...
Also, Nick Cage is old.
But he looks young in the movie, at least.
Yeah, good for him.
Good for him looking young when he's young, huh? Not unlike John Travolta looking like a fucking 90-year-old in Grease.
He has Saturday Night Fever. You have to cut him a little bit of slack.
Okay, Joe and I had a whole conversation where I didn't realize he was like 23 during Grease.
What?
Right?
What?
Yeah!
I thought he had to be 30. I thought everyone
Me
was like
too!
30. Oh shit.
Olivia Newton-John was older than him.
I guess.
Sorry, there's a wily cat on our end.
Yeah, so actually, I don't actually know if this is something out of the ordinary for us, considering we've done 4 movies thus far, 2 of which were musicals, so I guess maybe it's out of the ordinary that it's not a musical at this point.
We haven't quite hit the point yet where we have, like, distinguishable traits when it comes to the movies.
No, not really, but as you may be able to discern from the extra voice here, we also have Madeline with us this week.
No, I'm a ghost. I'm not actually here.
You're the ghost that was inside my computer.
I'm just here every time we talk about Nick Cage.
Yep.
That's gonna be my thing now.
As you may know, I represent Distinguished Businessman. My name is Joe.
I am the owner of this garbage sale. I am Kristen.
I am an innocent bystander.
Perfect.
And here we are. We are here going over 80s Coen Brothers film, Raising Arizona, for your listening pleasure, which... Let's start with the Coen Brothers, actually. Kristen and Madeline, do you know anything about the Coen Brothers?
Yes, I do, but also I had completely forgotten that this was a Coen Brothers movie, and through the entire movie I was like, huh, this looks like a Coen Brothers movie, that's weird. Because I didn't, like, Google it or anything, and then I felt like an idiot at the end. But no.
Did the appearance of John Goodman not tip you off?
Actually, no. That's not... It was just, like, the way that it was shot and the fact that it was a Nick Cage movie that wasn't only good because it hinged on Nick Cage, which I feel like is a pattern.
I have a slight confession. I think this might have been my first Coen Brothers movie.
Wow. Huh.
I'm really bad at remembering directors, so I could be wrong.
You've probably seen something.
Well, I mean, people know them most for, like, Fargo or The Big Lebowski, so those are the 2
I
big
still haven't
ones.
seen The Big Lebowski.
Oh, there
I
we
think
go.
it's overrated. I really like Oh Brother Where Art Thou and The Hudsucker Proxy, which is one that nobody talks about, but I like that one a lot.
I like Oh Brother, We're Out There a lot. I really like Barton Fink, and I went to go see Hail Caesar back in February or whenever when it came out, and that was good. I like that.
Yeah, I still need to watch that. I feel like I would really like it. Yeah, I think my dad actually exposed me to a lot of Coen Brothers stuff when I was too young to care at all. Because, like, I watched Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, like, actually watched it probably, like, 2 or 3 years ago, and I was surprised because it was actually good. Because when I watched it, I was like, oh, this is a bunch of adults having conversations over bluegrass music. And I was like, this is boring. Why would anyone watch this? And I had a sneaking suspicion that I had seen Raising Arizona before. And when we got to the bank robbery at the end, I was just like, oh shit, I definitely saw this scene before. And I just didn't care because all of the jokes are just not for children. Like, you're watching it and you're just like, these are just weird looking adults talking. I don't know. They talk funny. That's not funny. Where are the robots? Where are the cats and the monsters and the princesses?
Is this one specific movie you're describing?
No. I really liked A Troll in Central Park, so that tells you my standard for movies is it just had to be colorful and messed up and not have grown-ups in it.
I've liked Grease my entire life, so that's my bar.
That's fair.
I think this is also a unique choice because I guess so. You have revealed, Madeline, that you had at least seen part of Raising Arizona when you were a child.
Didn't remember any of it.
I had not seen this movie yet, and I know Kristen then probably hadn't seen this movie yet.
Nope. If you haven't seen it, there is almost no way I've seen it.
Well, I don't know. That's might not be true for teen rom-coms on Netflix, maybe.
Triple Dog.
Triple Dog. Excuse you, I was just telling Madeline about how we saw Without a Paddle in theaters.
Stop, that's just so sad.
I know, right?
Hey, I didn't go see Without a Paddle in theater. Was that when I went to go see Death Proof and
Oh man, you weren't there? Now I feel like a shitbag.
Was it you by yourself?
No, it was definitely not being by myself. You definitely saw 50 First Dates with us.
No,
Oh my god.
I went to go see
theaters?
50 First Dates, and we went to go see Fever Pitch, I remember, which was terrible.
Yes, I was telling Madeline about that too, and she had no idea what movie that was. And you know what? I'm surprised I remember that movie. Who's hot these days? That Jimmy Fallon.
I've seen, okay, in all fairness, I've seen maybe like 7 movies total in theaters. And like one of them was definitely Bride Wars, which I got roped into. One of them was Twilight, which I also got roped into, but I was there for the zeitgeist.
Did you see all of the Hunger Games movies in theater? Or just the ones I've seen with you?
Not the first one. Oh no, just the third one, I guess. Just
Wow.
3 part 1. Yeah, I never saw the other ones in theaters. And then I saw National Treasure 2: Book of Secrets in theaters.
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't regret. That was a good movie.
Keeping the Nick Cage thread going.
I just really, really like his movies. They're
Well,
really bad.
Why don't we talk about him? Because he is the star of this movie, one Nicolas Cage, whom I was thinking about recently. I was like, what is the defining Nick Cage movie that's good, but like not like good to laugh at?
I don't know. This might be it. I don't know. Like, hang on. I don't actually know his discography, filmography very well.
Famous rapper Nick Cage.
Oh god. I know he's gonna be buried under a pyramid in New Orleans when he dies.
Okay.
Which is he has a pyramid ready for his gravesite, which is
Morbid Nick Cage.
completely true. I feel like he's just been in, god damn, he's been in a lot of stuff. Shit.
I've never heard of any of these movies.
Is the thing he's most famous for now the National Treasure movies, or like what?
I think
Modernly, I think so.
I think that might be like the most,
Because those were fine movies.
and he plays it straight through the whole ones. That
Yeah.
He's not. I mean, he's still doing like his mugging thing, 'cause that's sort of what he does. But he's not.
He's not overdoing it.
He's not doing Con Air. He's not doing Face Off. He's not doing Wicker Man, which is another one of my favorites. Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider. Forgot about that.
I forgot he was in Kick-Ass.
Oh right, yeah.
That was a thing, but that wasn't like a Nick Cage movie. That was like him in a movie that wasn't
Right.
about him.
She was in something called Dog Eat Dog, which I, for a split second in my head, could not reconcile with the television reality competition show.
Was that on Game Show Network? I don't remember that shit at all.
Maybe. I know every time they had to do a challenge in the pool and then the girl had to take her clothes off, everyone would go, woo! In the audience, so it was not a great show.
Well, we've got Nick Cage here. I had the same thing with you saying like how Nick Cage wasn't really the focus of Kick-Ass or anything. I felt the same way. I was like, was it Moonstruck? Was Moonstruck Nick Cage's big thing? But that was like a Cher movie, so I don't know.
He's just been around. He is unkillable.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah.
Honestly, I cherish him.
Well, you don't want that pyramid to go unused. Like, I think once he lives a long and happy life,
Yeah,
he's ready for that pyramid.
he will have earned it.
Mm-hmm. Earn that pyramid.
Going right to that
Chase your
pyramid.
bliss.
And then we've got our female lead in the movie, Holly Hunter, whom is a name for me at least, is something that I was like, I've heard that name. But it hasn't.
Are you sure you're not confusing her for Helen Hunt?
Well,
I've
possibly.
done that.
Possibly, because as it turns out, when I looked up her filmography on IMDb, I was like, oh, the voice of Elastigirl in The Incredibles. And that's it.
The first thing it lists is The Incredibles, which is really sad because I know she's done more. Well, she was in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou as well.
Right,
obviously.
yes, I know she was also in that, but...
She's Elastigirl in a lot of things. The Positively True Adventures of the Alleged Texas Cheerleader Murdering Mom TV movie. Good
Oh.
God. That's a mouthful.
That came out the year I was born.
I know her name really well. Broadcast News. I know her from that. I'd never seen Broadcast News, but...
Those are our two leads in this movie. A man who doesn't really have an amazing movie to his face, but has a great face to his movies, and
Yep.
and a lady who was the voice of Elastigirl.
Yep.
Great combo for the ages.
So I guess after that, all that sort of stumbling all over ourselves, why not we'll play the lovely yodely theme of this movie, and we'll get right into it. So we start off on the old 2D 20th Century Fox logo. I would like to know when they changed to the 3D one, although I'm not going to go look that up now, so we'll just...
We talk way too much about movie logos.
I don't know, for some reason, because I have to start my notes with something, and it's, I'm so used to written by Christy Marks or Rick Merwin or something, I'm like, okay, I need to put something here to know that the movie has started.
The fact that it's the beginning of your notes is not enough.
So we're immediately introduced to H.I. McDonough, call him High, Nick Cage looking fucking ridiculous in this movie, in a good way.
Oh yeah, I was saying his hair looks like it's on sideways. Yeah, it's a wig, but the other way, the way you're not supposed to wear it.
So he's got a bad piece, I guess, and Hawaiian shirts all over the place, and a great mustache, and some good sideburns.
Real good mustache. He doesn't look good, but he looks great.
We have the establishing character moment of High getting his mugshot taken, putting us already. He's a no good Nick, I guess, knocking over convenience stores all the time.
Yeah. It looks like the same convenience store. I'm hoping he's at least going to different branches of this one chain.
Instead of just harassing the same person over and over again.
I personally value the gas station I get my coffee from, and I would not want to fuck them over. They do a good job.
That would be very sad.
That would be just rude, honestly.
We are also immediately introduced to Ed, short for Edwina, who is Holly Hunter. She is the female cop taking High's mugshots, and there is... would you call this beginning section, this beginning 12 minutes of the movie before we get the title, is this all exposition, basically?
I think so.
It's like the beginning of the movie Up, but different.
But it doesn't make you cry.
Yeah.
And Nick Cage is there.
It's like a redneck version of it. Because there's this whole thing where when this started, I was like, with the serious face that this cop is wearing, there's no way she's going to fall for Nick Cage in his Hawaiian-ass shirt. But then by the end of the opening sequence, they're married, I'm like, wow.
She was just so charmed by him threatening to attack her ex-fiance.
Yeah.
Her fiance.
That's how you know.
Yeah, her fiance.
That was really cute. I'm sorry. Ed is really cute. Everyone is horribly dysfunctional and bad, but that was very precious.
High talks about camaraderie in prison, because he gets dragged off to prison, of course, and a man with a mop growls at him, which happens a few times.
Yep. Yeah, that's just probably what he does.
And that's probably part of the job.
Yeah.
Your hands are busy with the mopping. What do? You growl at people as they go by.
Hey, you're here when we do intake, so just, be scary.
Yep.
We get a session with some doctor at the prison, and here we see John Goodman, who, when I wrote in my notes, oh shit, John Goodman, because we didn't have any credits yet, and I didn't expect to see him in the movie.
I did not know until we started naming him talking about this movie that was fucking John Goodman.
Seriously?
I'm bad with faces.
I didn't notice him in that opening 12 minutes, but did obviously notice when he crawled out of the weird hole.
Mm-hmm.
And now we get the first of, I believe, 3 times in the opening that High gets on the parole board and then gets paroled immediately before knocking over the same shortstop convenience store and getting hauled off to jail again. He blames his problems on Ronald Reagan as well. I don't understand.
Why not? At some point, his exposition and narration starts to sound like a weird, angry version of Forrest Gump.
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't know. They say the president's a good man. You must have bad people working for him.
I was kind of thinking it sounds like a much kinder, calmer version of Taxi Driver. I'm just like, this is someone who is dejected and not having a good time, but kind of having a good time.
Yeah, a better person.
He's not doing that bad.
If Travis Bickle wasn't in New York in the 1970s and in Arizona instead, he might have ended up like Nick Cage in this movie.
Everyone would be better for it, really.
And here is where, as he's having his picture taken for the second time by Ed, she is crying and says that her fiance left her, and High just calls him a bitch, and that he's gonna kick his ass, and he knows where to find him in the correctional facility here in Tempe, Arizona.
And Ed seems very touched by that. So again, not the highest standards for gentleman callers, but it was nice of him, I guess.
It's better than the first time when he slapped his ass as he was being hauled away.
Yeah, slowly getting there, and then next time he gives her a ring, so...
Very true, yeah. We get the same kind of things. This is a vicious cycle, it seems, because we get the mop inmate growling. We're back in the group session. John Goodman has amazing sideburns. And
that might be why I didn't recognize him.
The sideburns?
Yeah, he was pretty huge.
I just think John Goodman has such a fucking distinct voice. I don't understand how you couldn't I mean, I don't
I
know.
don't know. I have weird gaps when it comes to pop culture things.
Right, I've watched a lot of stuff with John Goodman in it too, so maybe that's why. I don't know. So we're back in the group therapy session. The doctor says that most men High's age should be starting a family, but he takes those words to heart. He starts thinking about it. Just thinking about, wow, maybe I should be starting a family. But he also can't think because there's a dude talking about eating sand in the bunk above him.
That is very distracting.
Once again, third time, paroled, caught robbing the shortstop. Ed's taken High's fingerprints, and here is where, yes, he gives her the ring, which, don't worry, he paid for it. And I'm, so I literally just watched this, but for some reason in my head, he pulls it out of, the fucking, like, the capsule of the, like a Gashapon capsule.
Oh. You know what? It looks like a ring that would be in a machine like that, so I'll give you credit, but no, that is not what happened.
No, that is not what happens.
If he was able to open one of those capsules super fast and with only one hand, he's definitely marriage material.
Crack it open like an egg. Here's your ring, madam.
Get the job done.
Prison seems to be getting harder for him as he can't stop thinking about Ed. Once again, gets in front of the parole board, gets paroled, and then walks right up to Ed and proposes to her as she is taking the picture of some other prisoner dude. And
who he says hi to.
Yes, I believe his name is Curtis or something. And we go straight to their wedding. One thing that I think we failed to mention, every time there's the scene with Ed, there's a voice in the background telling Ed to not, like one of the other police officers, I guess, telling her to not forget something, telling her to not forget to take High's profile, his phone call, and then about his fingerprints, and then at the wedding, don't forget the bouquet.
Very nice of them. Whoever he is.
Faceless, off-screen voice cop.
The best man.
The best man at the wedding. We get the lovely exchange of "I do," "You bet I do," and the priest just going, "Okay then."
That really sums up what I interpret the South to be like.
Southwest.
It's at this point that I noted that there is a banjo version of "Ode to Joy" playing, which is great.
Nice. Attention to detail.
I've got more sort of explanations here. High got himself a job drilling holes in sheet metal. He says it's like prison, but he's got a paycheck and he's got Ed to go home to, and that's, these are the salad days, as they say. Now they just got him.
What does that mean?
You know what, Kristen? I don't know.
I heard him say that as well, and I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
I don't know the etymology of that. I've just heard it said before.
Really? I've never heard it before. Yes. At least it's an actual thing.
I only know it from, there's the Monty Python sketch of Sam Peckinpah's Salad Days, and it's of all these people frolicking and then just starting to murder each other. So I'm assuming Salad Days is a merry time in your life, and then the Sam Peckinpah part comes in.
Apparently it's from Antony and Cleopatra. So unsurprisingly, it's
Thanks,
something
Shakespeare, you dick.
It's something Shakespeare pulled out of his ass, which most things are. Refers to a youthful time and experience. Blah, blah, blah.
Why salad though?
Refers to a heyday. Yeah, I don't really know.
I understand.
My salad days when I was green in judgment, cold in blood.
Oh, fuck off.
It only really makes sense when you have the rest of the metaphor.
Yeah. Otherwise, it just sounds like, got my croutons. Then again, if I had some croutons, I would be pretty happy too.
So if my life could be described by salad, I would just be so disappointed because let's be real, I need meat. It's like I am iron deficient. I want the meat days.
Like they say in the Star Kid musical, Me and My Dick. The female lead is Sally, and they call her Salad Sally because she's just like, like a salad. You don't want a salad.
She's just a salad,
Salad.
Can we start a salad bar called Salad Days, please?
It's gotta
I
exist.
bet it already exists.
It's probably really hipster and unpleasant.
Yeah.
So now it's time for them to make a baby. And Ed's really excited about making a baby. She's gung-ho for it. She's even got a fucking magazine wall-clipping wall murder note.
Yeah, like a ransom note wall of babies.
It looked from the beginning like she was going to find and steal a baby. Like it looked very
She was drawing a map to a secret baby she'd already tracked down.
Figuring out how to put one together.
Mm-hmm.
And as it turns out, Ed can't have children. She is barren, even though, as Nick Cage describes it, she looked fertile as the Tennessee Valley.
Yikes.
Yikes indeed. So at this point, I start thinking in the movie about how I'm really glad this is a comedy. Because, Joe, I don't know if you're aware of this. I know Madeline is. The amount of times storytellers attempt to play straight the woman who is distraught and crazy because she cannot have a baby.
Yes, I'm well aware of the character trope, which I was wary of. I was wary of a few things in the movie, but as it turns out, because thankfully the Coen brothers managed to put a good spin on it, perhaps,
Yep. Like
or at least make fun of that
David
character.
Cage.
And the fact that both of them are like, sure, let's steal a baby. Like, it's not like it's not 100% on Ed. Any baby.
Any baby.
Pick baby. Here's 5 babies, pick one.
Where's the baby? Under the cups. Where's the baby?
I do appreciate that when they find out she's infertile, like, the first thing I thought was, well, they should adopt. And so that's what they immediately try to do.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Hi's a felon.
Yeah. Well, like, they do think of all the things that I would think of. They don't immediately just go, well, we can't have a biological baby. I guess it's too late.
And they don't decide to steal a baby until they see someone who has 5.
Who has too many babies.
Who has too many babies. So they kind of go the logical course. If someone hadn't had 5 babies, they probably would have been like, well, no babies for us, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, as you can, they get to a pretty desperate point, also to the point where they're just like, I think we need to steal a baby, because that's when, Hi says the pizzazz is gone from their lives. Ed stops being a
I knew you
police
were going to write
woman.
down. And yeah, she basically quits her job and doesn't feel like doing anything.
She's like, fair enough.
And then they see, here it is, the birth of the Arizona Quince, born to Florence, Arizona, the wife of Nathan Arizona, whom we all know and love. And I don't know, Kristen and Madeline, I'll present this question to you. Do you like when in movies they do a thing where it's like, and here's this character, we all know this character, and it's like, who? What?
Well, I appreciate that the way they do it is a very, like, small town sort of thing where it's like he's that guy on all those commercials for furniture.
Right,
Yeah.
no.
Like the Mattress King.
Yeah, I think it does work, because it doesn't work when they're like, oh, this nationally known super celebrity, where it's like, oh no, we all know this guy. You as a viewer don't know this guy because you don't live here.
Yeah.
Right. You are not in the Tempe, Arizona area, so why the hell would you know of Nathan Arizona?
Yeah. Also, because if you live in Arizona and you have changed your last name or have the last name Arizona,
Probably gonna get some attention.
it's probably for a reason. You probably do a thing.
Call me Kristen, Pennsylvania.
Oh God, that would be such a horrible last name to have. I can barely spell Pennsylvania on forums.
I'm very good at it. I've had a lot of practice, to be fair.
As it turns out, the reason for Nathan Arizona's success is that he owns a chain of unpainted furniture outlets and, like, bathroom selections, I guess, called
Yeah, sure.
Unpainted Arizona.
Very good name.
It is really clever. He probably thought of the name and then, like, tried to figure out what he could sell that would fit that. Because honestly, unpainted furniture is such a weird, bad niche. Like, I do hope it's at least, like, sealed. You take your sweaty ass in frickin' Arizona and you sit down on some splintery, unpainted furniture.
Yep. I was just gonna say, just get those splinters, even if you're, like, carrying it, trying to put it together, going, ow, I hate this. Fuck you, Nathan Arizona.
And here is where, yes, Hi and Ed get the idea to steal one of these 5 kids, seeing a magazine article of Nathan Arizona joking that it's too much for them to handle. And then here it is, 12 minutes into the movie, we have a title, Raising Arizona.
I do appreciate that they wait to they show the title after you know enough that you definitely know what the title means now.
Yeah.
Right.
They're like, oh, raising in Arizona, probably like the child who has the last name Arizona.
There we go.
Got it.
Raising the MacGuffin.
So we joined the Arizonas on a quiet night in, Nathan screaming into the phone about tables and chairs being sold separately or something like that.
Yeah, because I think he said, like, if it's a table, it's just a table, but if you got chairs, you got a dinette set. And he's like, who gives a shit? You're still
very
making
important
money.
business phone call.
Was it weird to anybody else that Florence, Arizona dresses, and, like, I don't know if this is standard, but she dresses kind of like a Latter-day Saints housewife up in Utah. Like, she was wearing some, like, Pioneer Days kind of outfit.
Yeah, I don't know if that was supposed to be, like, affluent, Southwest.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I'm from Pennsylvania.
Like, you got 5 kids, you're not dressing like that anymore.
Absolutely. You're lucky if you have a sweatshirt on.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I don't know, it lets you know that it is the Arizona household on the bottom, as well as that it's, April the 12th. And I don't know if they only do that only for the joke of when Nathan looks at his watch and he goes, it is precisely 8:45 p.m., right as that comes up on the screen.
Good gag.
But whatever, Nick Cage is upstairs. He's like baby testing, I guess, is what I called this scene.
Just weighing his options.
Yeah.
We
Trying
see
to figure
that
out which one screams the least.
we see that the 5 babies are Harry, Barry, Larry, Gary with 2 R's, and Nathan Jr.
I think if you name one of your children Gary with 2 R's and a Y, you don't deserve that child. They should have taken Gary.
Yeah. Giving him a better name.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like, the one they take, they don't really know which one it was.
Yeah.
Nobody
they
really
guess.
does.
But yeah, there's this whole, like, slapstick baby chasing scene
It was
where
honestly just really stressful.
it was, yeah, it's like, oh no, the babies. Like, we're introduced to this because the Arizona's downstairs and they're like, do you hear the babies crying? And then like 45 minutes later, they're like, we should go check on that crying baby.
It was like a weird, quiet, muffled. I really liked how long they lingered on the Arizonas downstairs, just looking at the ceiling and being like,
Should we
that's
go
a noise.
check? You would think they would have named it or
Because
something.
I've done that before.
Yeah.
I mean, with cats, so it's less worrying, but like, you're sitting downstairs, you hear a weird noise, you just look at the ceiling for a little while like, do I have to go check that? Is that important?
One of them also falls onto Nick Cage's ass at one point.
Yeah.
Soft landing. Boom.
Baby mania running wild. I don't know how the door got open, but one of them ends up in the hallway. Two of them end up in the hallway at one point. One of them nearly crawls over the stairs.
I wonder if they really had baby extras or if it was just a bunch of digitally edited in babies.
They looked like different babies. They were pretty clearly different
Okay.
babies.
I couldn't remember.
According to IMDb, I believe I saw that there were 15 separate babies that played the five.
Christ.
Well, I mean, they're babies, and you can only really film them for like 5 minutes before they start screaming.
I
So you have
know.
to swap out the baby.
On Full House, they only had 2.
But they still needed 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
15 for 5.
It was also a movie.
Also, I had read on IMDb that one of the babies got fired because it learned how to walk.
Oh no.
That dick baby.
Finally, yes, after this 90 minutes of Nicolas Cage
Can you
wrangling,
fire a baby?
the Coen
so.
brothers did.
Rude. That seems like immoral.
Well, I'm sure the baby got paid for the time done.
I hope so. Fuck you, baby. Get out of here.
Little tiny thing slip.
Attached to like a ring that he could chew on.
Yeah. It dingles.
I'm sorry, Joe, continue.
So after, 45 minutes of Nick Cage trying to wrangle babies, Florence finally starts walking upstairs to see what the hell's going on, and she gets in the room, and all 5 are sitting there like total angels. Nick Cage
Sup.
is saying sup to her and being like, oh my god, first words. High heads back down to basically tell Ed that he's getting cold feet on the whole situation, because that was obviously a very stressful time trying to make sure the babies didn't die.
I wrote down the line because I thought it was really, really good. And he said they were crying and they were all wormy, and it was kind of horrifying. Which is how I feel about babies. It was a very good sentence, and it was a little bit steamrolled by Ed, but I loved it. A little wormy.
But Ed, yes, is adamant she wants a baby, so get back in there and get her a damn toddler, Nicolas Cage, you dick.
Yeah, she rolls the window as he's trying to talk to her.
And then we get Florence is playing with one of the babies as Nick Cage kind of peers up from the window, looking like a creepy person. And thankfully there's not a 50-minute sequence of him trying to wrangle babies again, because he takes one, just brings him right back, and when asked which one he took, he goes, Nathan Jr., I think.
Yeah, maybe, not sure. And he also brought the instructions.
Yes, Dr. Spock's baby and child care book.
I love that. I really love that. I love how literally, no matter what this baby goes through and how many times it changes hands, they always make sure to take the book too, because you don't want to have a baby and not know what to do with a baby.
Yeah, you need to have something to reference.
It's very precious. I don't know. I think it's very cute. That's probably should have been the first time there was a Coen Brothers movie. Like, that's a gag that they would do, and I didn't realize, and now I'm mad at myself.
As they drive away, Nick Cage is like, I think I got the best one, too. Like, how do you determine the best baby?
Probably not the one who landed on his ass.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
The one
Yeah.
who doesn't have a thing about asses.
And he's an awful damn good baby, but don't cuss around him, because you don't want the baby cussing.
Yeah.
You want the baby's first word to be shit.
I have heard stories that one of my friends, her first word was fuck.
Nice.
In all fairness, she never got in trouble for it because she was at a grocery store and she had knocked over a display of cereal, and this little tiny kid just goes, fuck. And her mom was like, that's so appropriate that I can't even be mad.
Uh-huh.
You learned its meaning.
So Ed wonders, basically, if Florence might get upset about the baby being gone, but High is just like, you know what, she'll get over it. She's got 4 more babies, almost as good as this one.
Nearly, but not quite.
And here's where we get possibly my favorite moment in the movie, where all of a sudden Ed just starts sobbing and screaming that she loves the baby so much.
Apparently some people feel that way about babies.
They bring the baby home, back to the trailer. They have a whole welcome home son banner, which was great,
Nice.
Very cute.
as well as Nick Cage going into the room to kind of fix it up a bit, hiding the Playboys under the mattress, and then taking one back out and kind of flipping through the pages before putting it back under the mattress.
You gotta have it open to your favorite page.
Yep. Gotta be ready at a moment's notice.
They show him around. It's fucking, hey, there's the kitchen. There's the television, 2 hours a day maximum, educational or sports, so as not to spoil you for the finer things in life.
Good rule.
And then they just kind of sit him down and look at him, and it's just like it's a lot of people like to just look at the baby in this movie.
I think that baby is like a magic baby.
I mean,
It's like the suitcase from Pulp Fiction. You look at it and go, wow.
to be fair, like, put all this effort into, like, planning a little bit of a heist, and
Baby
then doing
heist.
the heist, and getting ready for the baby, and then suddenly you just have this that doesn't do anything. Like,
Yeah, nice.
all right, we did it. That's the
His
baby.
Cushioned throne. Just look around. At some point during the movie, I'm like, it's a really good thing that this baby is definitely too young to remember any of this shit.
Oh, yeah. This is some fucked up shit.
Yeah, that baby had a rough go of it.
That conversation is going to be fun when it's just like, so hey, Nathan Jr., did we ever tell you how you got kidnapped for like a week when you were a child?
I know, and I would prefer if you did not.
High comments that the baby is a little outlaw, which will come back later, and he decides to preserve the moment in a picture, and this is the longest fucking like self-taking picture on the planet.
The Flash is old. He needs a couple minutes to warm up like a scanner.
And of course the picture comes out not that great.
Ed is asking him questions the entire time, building up the pressure of what you actually need to do to be a parent. So once the picture actually gets taken, Hai looks super uncomfortable.
And I know I just said my favorite moment of the movie was Ed screeching that she loved the baby in the car, but now we have, I believe, my favorite moment in the movie, where John Goodman emerges from a hole in the ground outside the prison, screaming for a full minute, I'd say.
He does a lot of screaming.
I would too.
There's a lot of screaming from John Goodman in this movie. This part particularly, it lasts a very long time, and I also have in my notes here, it's a little less glamorous than what happened in The Shawshank Redemption.
Wasn't he covered in shit by the time he got out?
Yeah. I thought it was mud, but we later find out it is actually some shit.
Oh, so it's the same thing as the Shawshank Redemption, then?
It is the same thing, yes, except instead of opening his shirt and, like, you know, looking up at the rain, John Goodman just goes, "Ah!" the entire time.
I mean, I've had times where, granted, I've never been through that experience specifically, but I've gotten out of stressful situations and wanted to do that before. I've gotten off the subway and wanted to scream for a full minute. So I understand.
Hashtag relatable.
Yeah.
John Goodman also drags his brother. I put one of the prisoners. I hadn't realized that it was... I believe it's his brother. They have the same last name, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Drags his brother out by the ankle from the hole as well, and...
He, like, punches into the ground and pulls him up like a freaking... like Caddyshack.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
And then we see them applying hair grease in the bathroom, and I have that they are getting ready for a high school production of Grease.
Nice. They're both playing Grease.
Who is John Goodman? Is John Goodman Danny? Is he going to be the...
No, they're both Grease.
They're both
They're
Grease?
both the
Okay.
Grease.
Yes.
The titular Grease.
Oh god, can you imagine if the hair grease was actually personified? They're just like a dude kind of gargoyle crouching on top of each of the guys.
Here I am! This is
Grease
my
is the way.
conceptual production of Grease.
Oh my god.
It's high art, don't judge.
Oh god.
I noticed at this point there's a sign behind John Goodman that says, "We aim to please, will you please aim," in this men's room. That isn't reflected in the mirror. Like, it's read straight.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
Was it not a
gag?
sticker? Was it maybe a sticker on the mirror?
Nope, because John Goodman's hand and shit goes in front of it.
Oh. That was something that someone chose to do.
Good
Yeah.
gag.
Maybe it's just so that it wasn't distracting people when they were watching it. Maybe they were like watching the footage back and they were like, there's this thing that has a lot of text on it and we can't listen and read it at the same time.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
When I see backwards things, I do tend to walk very slowly.
And,
If
like,
I'm going
look
by them
real
and be
hard.
like, how do I read this? How do I read this? What does it say?
Yeah, so maybe it was like a functional thing. Or maybe it was just like really artsy fartsy. Who knows?
Who knows?
Wild card.
Just Coen Brothers things.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's also a cute sign, and I appreciate that, and we need one of those for my office. But that's a whole other problem. It is hell back there, I have heard.
The brothers leave here, Gail and Yvelle, who aren't named just yet, but they steal a station wagon as it is being filled up at this gas station, and we cut back to the baby sleeping, Hi and Ed are sleeping, still just kind of looking at them because they're just sitting next to the crib. And here's where Gail is knocking on the door, claiming to be the police, but oh ho, it's just such a fun reunion to get them back together. Gail and Yvelle Snotes, John Goodman, and the other guy, who I didn't look up who the actor was, because fuck
He
it.
was familiar, but I don't know who he is. He was probably in Oh Brother Where Art Thou.
Probably. He might be one of the Coen Brothers regulars, because we do see Frances McDormand later, and she is also a Coen Brothers regular. So John Goodman notes the welcome home, son sign, and we get the first of a few hilarious mix-ups in the movie, where they try to explain where the child had been. Both Tulsa and Phoenix is said. going to see the grandparents. As
Very
it
good
turned,
story. Completely straight.
Okay, so Yvel was William Forsythe.
Oh, all right, okay.
Yeah, so actually kind of a big name.
Huh.
Whoopsie dipsy.
Might be.
All three of our B, I guess.
Gail asks, like, oh, well, did they go see your parents, Ed? And like, nope, went to go see High's. I thought you said your grandparents were dead. Hi? Or your parents, I guess. Nope, they're separated, and we had to take them to their final resting places in Tulsa and Phoenix.
Perfect.
I mean, they could have come up with like just say like, oh, he was at the doctor, and we wanted to make him feel
Welcome home.
welcome home. Whatever.
They're not the smartest.
Honestly, they could have just looked them both dead in the eye and been just like,
None of your business.
None of your business. You're escaped felons. We don't ask questions. You don't ask
Walk
questions.
away.
Goodbye.
Which obviously the fact that they are escaped felons does perturb Ed quite a bit, as well as the fact that they do smell because they hit the main sewer line, and they climbing through shit.
Delicious.
Oh, God.
It's gross, okay? I don't know what else to say about it.
Here is also where Yvel brings back the comment about calling the baby a little outlaw. So for some reason, is shared lexicon a common Coen Brothers thing as well, where somebody says something and then the other person, not hearing the first person say that thing, says the exact same thing?
Yeah.
I trust Madeline's judgment on this.
Yeah, I feel like just using the same kind of like vernacular is pretty common, especially because everyone has this kind of a little bit strange way of speaking where it's very, very southern, very kind of, I don't even know how to describe it because I don't know what you would call that in Arizona.
I think I had read that the Coen Brothers kind of made up the accent for this movie.
Yeah, because it definitely feels like Deep South, but my mom's from New Mexico. I've been out there before. People are just kind of regular. I don't know.
Not that weird.
It's not Deep South, but I've also never been to Tempe, Arizona. So who knows?
Who knows?
I didn't even check if Tempe, Arizona was a real place.
It seems to be.
Okay, well, very
In
good.
that Google will tell me what the weather is, so I'm pretty sure it is. It's so close to Phoenix. Like there's no way. Like they're just
God.
they just got to be regular people.
Nope, not these people.
No, yeah, not the ones in the movie at least.
So Gale and Yvel basically have to stay for 2 days tops. High promises Ed, and here is where High has his dream about what I referred to first as a Mad Max motorcycleman, Leonard Smalls, the people hunter, the lone biker of the apocalypse, a man who looks very dirty. He is a very unkempt-looking man.
He's a dirty boy.
Dirty boy.
Sorry, the weird thing about this movie for me especially is because I don't remember having seen it, I have always seen the biker bounty hunter guy as like when people will show one character from a movie as being indicative of that movie, I feel like I have seen him. So I thought this movie was going to be a lot more Mad Maxy than it was. I was very, very confused because like, oh, that's the guy that I've seen on like posters and in drawings and on like fan art. I haven't seen that much really on fan art, but just in general, like as kind of the iconography, like what the fuck is he doing in this movie? Where it's just kind of like down home country folk stealing a baby.
It's like how the only thing I had seen from Big Trouble in Little China was thunder exploding.
Very true.
Weird. It's weird stuff.
And he's got a tattoo that says "Mama didn't love me" because we find out later that he was sold on the black market as a child.
So, accurate tattoo.
Also, yes, we have his establishing character moments where he's throwing grenades at rabbits and shooting a gecko with a shotgun.
That seems like a waste of ammunition, but okay.
And High describes him in his dream as he was the fury that would be as soon as Nathan, Arizona would be found gone, or Nathan Arizona Jr., or whatever, I don't remember. For some reason I didn't write down the exact quote. And we see a shot leading right to Florence, Arizona from outside up in the room, screaming, turning towards the camera. This is a shot straight out of Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Which makes sense considering the Coens and Sam Raimi worked together in the 80s.
There you go.
And suddenly eyes open, and Ed is singing to Junior a lullaby about a man killing some girl about to be hung for it.
Nice. You know, most lullabies are pretty fucked up anyway, so.
Rocked by Baby's about a baby falling off a tree, so.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what?
I mean, all of them are bad.
And like it ends with the baby falling out of the tree.
Yeah.
Like nothing good happens afterwards. Like, and then a cloud caught the baby and the baby was okay. Now that baby died because of in a tree.
You know, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, Rockabye Baby, yeah, about a baby falling from a tree. And I'm like, what? And then I think about it like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Exactly what the lyrics say.
At the top of a tree in a storm.
Yeah.
No one's there to catch the baby. They don't say that.
Who put the baby in the tree!
How'd the baby climb the tree?
With the cradle?
With the cradle.
That's on his
Buff
back like a
baby.
turtle shell.
I get the baby's probably fine then.
Yeah.
So we cut to the media now interviewing Nathan Arizona, and when he is asked which tot was adopted, he gives the same response of Nathan Jr., I think.
I love that nobody, including the parents, is quite sure which baby it was.
I feel like that probably has to be complicated when you first get, like, a bunch of identical babies. Or, like, somewhat identical babies.
Yeah, you have to learn pretty quick.
Yeah, you have to, like, draw on them with marker.
I mean, to be fair, I have these two baby cousins that they don't look the same anymore, but they were pretty identical when they were really little, and I could always tell which one was which because my cousin Lucy couldn't see very well, so she was always squinting at stuff, and Gretchen didn't squint at stuff, so I was just like, okay, there's the squinty one, which is rude.
One of the other reporters says that the child might have been abducted by UFOs, to which Nathan Arizona, deadly serious, is like, don't print that. My wife would lose all hope if she read that.
Which means he really considers it a possibility.
That's cute. It's also Arizona.
Yeah, there you go.
So he's dragged away by the cops at this point, but not before he can shill for Unpainted Arizona, saying that it's still business as usual, even though my child has been stolen. Don't worry about it. Free hot dogs for the kids.
Boom, tough baby.
So now we have a scene of Nathan Arizona getting fingerprinted, basically just getting angrier and angrier at the cops. And the FBI are here for some reason, too. And I don't think they don't continue on that, do they?
Maybe they really thought it was aliens. Like they were super serious about it.
Like, do the FBI, maybe they get involved with, like, missing persons things, maybe? If they thought maybe that the baby had crossed state lines, I don't know.
Is it, like, extra, like, important when it's a baby? I would assume so.
I feel like it. I feel like if you don't pull out all the stops to look for a baby, people
Like,
are
what the
gonna
fuck
get
are
mad.
you doing?
Yeah. What's the point, really?
Here we also learn that Nathan Arizona was born Nathan Huff Hines, which he had to change because would you buy furniture from a place called Unpainted Huff Hines?
I would.
You just have to come up with a different pun. Or sell something that isn't unpainted furniture, sir. Like, literally, Huff Hines could be used for anything else, and you could just sell something that doesn't suck.
He really had his heart set on it.
How do you get into the business of selling unpainted furniture? What degree is required for that?
None, I'm assuming.
You stumble upon a turned over truck of unpainted furniture, and you're like, well, I guess this is it.
my future.
Yeah.
This is a sign.
If a truck of Pepsi had fallen over, he would have become a distributor. Like, who knows?
Come on down to Pepsi, Arizona.
We just sell Pepsi.
Pepsi Arizona sounds
If you ask
like...
us for Coke, we'll kick you out.
Pepsi Arizona sounds like an escort.
The stripper name?
Yeah.
I think Pepsi Arizona as like a brand, which it would be like sarsaparilla kind of Pepsi, like Sunset Sarsaparilla, maybe.
Yeah.
The kid was in his jammies when he was stolen, we learn.
I'm pretty sure he was in a diaper. But okay, Dad of the Year.
Nathan Arizona saying that the jammies had Yodas and shit on them.
Okay, Dad of the Year.
I don't think he's ever seen his children before.
Yeah. Are you sure it wasn't a girl?
I was going to say that he doesn't see them at all, but no, we do see him in the room at the end of the movie, so never mind.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
the one time we see him with the baby.
Because otherwise it's all the wife.
You know, like God intended.
And then some other stuff happens where he gets fingerprint ink all over a camel hair coat or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think those are actually as fancy as he was implying they are.
$500.
You know, fancy coats.
And basically that the cops don't have any leads, and they should know how to have leads because they fucking follow microbes and shit, and they wouldn't know a lead from the hole in the ground.
Ba-da.
I thought you were
Music.
I thought you were doing New York, New York there for a second.
That would be a really weird thing to transition to.
Start spreading the news.
John Goodman today.
Have you heard the good news of John Goodman?
I wanna be a part of it, John Goodman.
Perfect.
Not my best
How to print it. We're good.
improv song parody that I've done.
And of course, when he says that the cops don't seem to know a lead from a hole in the ground, they cut to a hole in the ground, the same one that Gail and Neville escaped from. The police are here with dogs and shit, and we see the rider of the fucking apocalypse, Leonard Smalls, here as well as we see the gas station that they knocked over in the distance, and he knocks down the door to the gas station bathroom with his motorcycle.
I hate gas stations too. I relate.
And we get a lovely quick zoom on the empty can of hair grease, and then a quick zoom onto Leonard Smalls, and that's it. Cut away.
The only place where they use hair grease in this state is Tempe, Arizona.
Whoa! It's still the 50s there.
You know what? I had a hard time placing this movie at points, which is another Coen Brothers kind of thing. But I know that I had forgotten that Nick Cage specifically said about Ronald Reagan at the beginning of the movie, because
Yeah, because like there's nothing really to date it specifically other than it's just like definitely the last like 60 years.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the modern looking Huggies might have helped too, might have tipped me off.
Yeah, I think that's still what their branding looks like now, or at least as of 2012 when I was working at Toys R Us.
Very close to that. The baby on the front probably changed.
It's probably a different baby.
So we cut to Gale and Avelle are eating cornflakes, just kind of staring at Ed, who is feeding Junior, and very bluntly, John Goodman asks, "Why ain't you breastfeeding?"
It's none of his fucking business.
Yeah, absolutely none of your
Oh, boom!
And that if you don't breastfeed Junior, he'll hate her and end up in jail, which is exactly what happened to them.
I feel like they're trying to make it funny, but like, how about you lay off the woman with the baby
Yeah.
who already doesn't like you?
Yeah, don't push it.
That's not a funny haha.
And we find out that they got some company coming over later, so Hi's like, okay, you guys gotta leave for the day, and as it turns out, I'd like to leave as well, please. And nope, you're not getting out of this one, asshole.
Nope. Sorry, Dad.
I put friends because I assumed they were friends. We don't learn that Glenn is Nick Cage's boss, essentially, until later, but Glenn and Dot arrive with their fucking million kids, Dot being Frances McDormand, who has been in many Coen Brothers movies, and I don't know what else she's really done, actually. The main lady in Fargo, and that's probably people know her best.
I don't know what it is. The thing with the screaming kids reminds me of. I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm sure there's 500 movies that have done the whole thing where it's like, here are a lot of kids and they're just screaming and slapping things.
You know, using water guns on Nick Cage's junk and writing fart on the wall.
I did like that, where they're like, oh, he already knows his alphabet, and they cut to the kid having written fart on the wall. I'm like, yeah.
Uh-huh.
The regular Bart Simpson over there.
What a beautiful kid.
Just like Bart.
Just like Bart.
Dot seems fucking crazy about babies because they go and show her, or Ed goes and shows her Junior's room first. She's also crazy about Bible names, and we see that some of the kids are named. I don't think all of them are. One of them is definitely what's the other kid from the Children of the Corn?
One of them's Mordecai.
Mordecai, thank you.
I was thinking more like regular show, but yeah.
One of them's Buford, I think. I don't know if that's a Bible name. That just makes me think of
That one's just a southern name.
Buford Tannen from Back to the Future Part 3. So Glenn and Hi are sharing some beers, just talking like dudes do, and Glenn is telling some hilarious jokes about Polish people.
I don't really know, because I try to stay away from people who make weird, bad, kind of insensitive jokes. I have not heard of this like kind of subset of making jokes about Polish people.
Really?
Really?
That's a huge thing in northeastern Pennsylvania.
Really?
Coming from an Italian family, that is all we make jokes about.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That was just new to me. I was just like, that's a weird thing. I don't know. I was expecting something like
Not sure
differently
what it's doing in Arizona.
I don't know.
Because that's the thing that we've definitely experienced in our area.
Huh. That's weird. Okay. We just make fun of people from Jersey.
Yeah.
Well,
That's all we got.
I think the entire country does that.
Yeah.
I don't know what Poland ever did to Italy to have us constantly at family dinners have our family members, because I'd like, fucking, why would I make a Polish
I think it's
joke?
mostly an immigrant family joke.
Maybe. I don't know. Whatever. He can't tell the joke right either, because he asks how many Polacks does it take to screw up a light bulb?
Right.
And then says 3 and he starts laughing before the word 3 is barely out of his mouth. And then it's just like, wait a minute.
It's all in the delivery, Joe.
Wait a minute, I didn't tell that right. Why does it take 3 Polacks to screw up a light bulb? Because they're so darn stupid. Ha 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 ha! That's a knee slapper. Ha ha!
Great joke. And yeah, Hi is also like not really feeling the jokes.
And he also says that it's a way homer, that you'll get it on the way home, and Hi's just like, I am home. Please, just stop telling jokes.
I can start saying that to people. I think I would get a lot of mileage out of that, because usually when people don't laugh at my jokes, I just yell at them.
Glenn also seems to I guess he knows that Hi and Ed were trying to get a baby, because he's like, how'd you get one so darn quick? I went to the adoption agency, because he says on 2 separate occasions that there's something wrong with his semen, just so bluntly.
Yeah, in that kind of way that like people get uncomfortable at you and you can't do anything about it.
Please stop telling me about your personal medical issues.
And he says that through one of the agencies, it was going to take him 5 years to adopt a healthy white baby.
They only wanted a white one. That's important.
Well, what was it that he said that was available? 2 Koreans?
There were 2 Koreans and one, I won't say it, but a black baby who had his heart outside of his chest or something.
Yeah.
Like some sort of serious medical issue that
I
he
think
then
someone lied to them.
he made light of. I mean, that does happen.
Really?
Yeah, you can be born with. Yeah, it's
dark.
It's some stuff. It's some stuff.
Hmm.
But apparently, nope. Just white babies for bad family.
Yep.
That's fun. Also, like, you have 15 babies.
You don't need any more.
I don't understand. Like, I don't know.
Well, no,
They should have taken one of those kids.
he says basically that it's, or I guess Dot has some kind of condition that she wants to only cuddle, like she only cares about babies because he's just like, these kids are getting too big to cuddle. So now Dot wants something new. So that sounds like...
Get a dog. Oh my god.
Well, there's also those people who only want puppies or kittens, and once the animals grow older, they're like, it's not a puppy or a kitten anymore. I don't want it now.
Get one of those fucked up dogs that's really small and is kind of broken and bred poorly.
Yeah, they like to bite people.
Yeah, get one of those.
I thought this was going to come together, so I wrote down notes for it. But when Dot and Ed are seeing the baby together, Dot asks the name, and Ed is just like, oh, it's Hi Junior. And then when Glenn and Hi are talking, what's the baby's name? Ed Junior?
Like Edward, but also like Edwina.
I
Like
thought that was honestly like so cute.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because like you kind of expect that because they're still calling him Junior or whatever. But like I expected, just because it tends to be kind of a thing, a macho man sort of thing, of that like Hi would be like, yeah, it's gonna be Hi Junior. Because usually, I don't know, I feel like when people do something Junior, it's always the dad's name.
Joe is named after our dad, so
Yeah. So like it's one of those things that I thought it was very sweet that he was like, no, Junior.
yeah.
It's just they care about each other a lot. They have a really dysfunctional marriage, but it's very cute.
But they like each other.
Yeah, I thought it was very cute.
And at this point, we cut to everybody around a picnic table. I don't know what the fuck Dot is doing. She's just squirting mustard on bread
That's how I used to eat hot dogs.
Yeah.
as she is talking about all sorts of shots that the child needs, including his dip-tet, which she says dip-tet about 5 times, and basically putting the fear of God into Ed that her child is going to die at any moment, probably.
Yeah, don't start screaming about all the things that could go wrong.
Have they got a pediatrician for the baby? Have they started his bank accounts?
Yeah, that last one is not. I mean, that's something you need to do eventually, but also can chill. Baby doesn't need a debit card.
No.
You're gonna be all right.
I mean, she also asks, back in the scene where they're looking at him in the crib, Nathan Jr., if he's going to University of Phoenix or University of Arizona. University of Phoenix is the online one, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the one that's a for-profit university.
And also, hey, is the life insurance squared away? What happens if Hi gets run over and his brains get splattered all over the pavement, or a tornado carries him away?
So, chipper.
Yeah, think about all the good things. All the best parts of marriage.
And all of this entire day seems to have been very troubling for Hi, because in the next scene where he is walking around just a desert area with Glenn, he is holding onto his nice fancy shoes and looks like he's going to explode. And he's talking like, do you ever feel like you have that immense pressure on you, Glenn? Like he's trying to get Glenn to be a friend. And Glenn's like, you know what'll make you feel better? So Dot thinks you're cute. And
God, he's like, hey, make you feel better? Let's do some swinging.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun.
Do a big couple swap. You seem like you're into it, even though you're clearly terrified and miserable.
You're clearly having an anxiety attack, but you know what'll make you feel better? Infidelity.
Yep.
I have not already primed you on the idea yet.
Let's just lay it all out there. Boom.
I like how
Nailed the landing.
I like how Glenn is just so forthcoming with like, oh yeah, me and Dot are swingers, as in to swing.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks for the definitions.
It's like when people define words with the different words that also need definitions. Thank you.
We swing, like swinging.
Yeah.
And this is enough for Hi to punch Glenn in the face, because
I think he punches him in the face because Glenn says something about how he's like already super into Ed or whatever. Like he says something like that. So it's like, okay, yeah, you overstepped your bounds, buddy.
Yeah, that's definitely enough. And then as Hi looks like he's going to kick more ass, Glenn gets up and runs away and tells him that he pities Hi, and then he runs into a cactus.
Good riddance.
And now we get the beginning of... Is this the craziest sequence in the movie, possibly? This full 7-minute odyssey of chases going to many different places?
I loved it, honestly. I hate car chases. I think they're really boring. This one was real funny.
This one was wonderful. They're driving in the car at night now. Hi, Ed and Nathan Jr., excuse me, Ed Jr. And apparently we learned that Hi had broken Glenn's nose, and that, Ed's like, what would possess you to do that? And Hi just doesn't want to reveal the terrible secret that Glenn wanted to have sex with her.
Yeah, I feel like that's fair.
Yeah.
It's irritating to not explain why you did something really stupid, but also like, yeah, she didn't need to know that.
And here's where we learn that, yes, Glenn was High's foreman at the place where you drill the holes into the steel plating, which sounds like a terrible job, by the way, and they don't make it look glamorous or anything.
Nope.
So he's probably going to get fired now, and basically realizes that, but hey, you talk about a man's wife like that, it ain't gonna fly.
It was very nice of him to just be like, fuck it, don't care, like, no more of this, please.
So they stop outside a convenience store because Junior needs some Huggies, and old habits die hard as Nicolas Cage puts pantyhose over his face, sets the Huggies down on the counter, and goes, I'll be taking these Huggies and whatever cash you got.
Diapers and see you later.
Well, we see that, like, a bag is being stuffed with, I didn't pay attention if it was actually cash, but a bag is being stuffed with something as well when the guy behind the counter, the crater-faced clerk, as I call him.
He does kind of look like the greasy-faced teenager from The Simpsons, who works at every single job. Kind of reminded me of that. Except with firearms. Obviously.
As we'll see in a moment here, yes, where he pushes the silent alarm as the cops are approaching, and here is where Ed notices that Hi is sticking up his old haunt, this old convenience store.
She probably shouldn't have let him go in alone, to be fair.
Yeah, well, that's probably true, and Ed gets so pissed that she drives away.
Which, also fair. Later, dick!
Hi runs out, hears the police sirens coming, and I'm just like, how the fuck is Nicolas Cage gonna get out of this one? Especially when all of a sudden the crater-faced clerk shoots at him twice from... Nicolas Cage clearly wasn't paying attention, so the clerk probably could have gotten closer, but I guess, you don't want to risk it or anything, so yep, time to start running, and...
Nearly gets shot a lot.
I like how the one policeman who is firing at Hi is hanging out of the window and falls out of the cop car when it stops in front of the convenience store.
Yeah. He looks like he was joyriding and it went bad.
As he's being shot at, Hi ends up dropping the Huggies and tries to go back for them, but only gets, like, more bullets near him. So he's just like, well, fuck, better keep going. So he jumps into a yard with a big dog whose chain falls just short enough to not bite him.
The safety does not last for too long.
You call it safety, but yes, because the dog...
quote unquote.
Pulls the stake from the ground that is keeping him chained. And we see Ed back in the car. She's feeling a little like, you know what? I think we gotta go back for him. Nathan Jr. So... might
as well.
Time to turn around. A man in a truck almost runs down... Well, I shouldn't say almost, because he does get hit by the car, doesn't he?
Yeah. So yeah, almost doesn't really cut it.
Yes. A man does run down Hi, and as Hi gets in the car, the man behind the wheel truck goes, son, you got a panty on your head.
Thanks, Dad.
And then we see a tiny dog starts chasing the big dog.
A lot of things get chased.
There's a lot of
wacky cartoon sequence. Straight out of Gem and the Holograms.
For some reason, the shortstop clerk is now in the middle of the street, and the man in the truck nearly runs him down.
And the clerk is, like, shooting at the truck, which when I have headlights in my eyes, I can't see through windshield. As far as he knows, this is just a truck.
Yeah.
He's just shooting some guy because he has a gun and he's stressed out.
So responsible.
Jesus.
And that blows out the windshield, doesn't it?
Yeah. A lot of windshields also get fucked.
Movie bad for windshields.
Also, as the truck swerves out of the way, the clerk gets toppled over by, like, 4 dogs.
Things are finally starting to turn around for Hi.
And then the guy in the truck nearly hits the police car, which is coming directly at them, and there's a lot of this guy who is behind the wheel of the truck is much like John Goodman in the earlier scene. He cannot stop screaming. He is just screaming bloody murder the entire time.
How I get pumped up for police chases.
And then he nearly runs into a house, which he stops short of, but this makes Hi fly out of the broken windshield and hit the lawn, and he's just like, well, thanks for the ride, buddy, and then just runs into this stranger's house. The police continue to chase behind him, and then soon the dogs are fucking stampeding through the house. We get to a supermarket somehow. I don't know how long this chase could have possibly been going on, where the supermarket is close to the shortstop, in which case, why did they go to the convenience store instead of going to the supermarket to get the Huggies?
Day 3 of this police chase.
Hai runs into the supermarket. He grabs another thing of Huggies.
You think he would take the pantyhose off his head and just like try to play calm of just like, I'm just a guy getting some Huggies because I can afford them and should just pay for them because clearly it's not working out tonight.
That requires too much forethought.
Not the case, no. I have a question as to how much fucking ammo the cops have, because they are still shooting at him as he is running through the aisles and shit.
And they're just shooting down the aisles wildly too. It's like these cops have less like regard for
Don't accidentally shoot civilians, assholes.
Yeah.
Hai runs down an aisle only to be met with dogs on the other side, so he starts running the other way. A supermarket employee nearly kills him with a shotgun.
Yep.
Great.
And I don't know that much about Arizona, but this seems a little bit ridiculous. Just a little bit ridiculous.
Just a little bit.
I do like that everyone else at the grocery store, or at least everyone that I noticed, was a lady with curlers in her hair. Like, he runs down, like, I believe what was, like, the refrigerator, like, meat aisle, and it's just a bunch of women with shopping carts and curlers in their hair who all just go, oh! And back away.
You interrupted lady time at the supermarket.
Yeah, 8 p.m., that's lady time.
Woo!
And one of those ladies comes back because it looks as though a cop has Hai cornered, basically, but Hai throws the Huggies at him, which apparently has enough momentum to knock him backwards into a lady who is running by with curlers in her hair, being chased by the dogs. He gets hit by her cart, and finally Hai runs out in time to be picked up by Ed, who punches him in the face almost immediately.
And when she punches him in the face, he does do like a whole head swing and crossed eyes, mugging to the camera, which I appreciate.
Yep. Good job on that chase sequence.
Congratulations, Hai. You just completely demolished our entire city.
Yep.
All of it. Everyone is dead.
They all know it was you.
And they're having an argument as they are driving away. Hai's kind enough to give Ed directions as they are talking about the semantics of armed robbery, where it ain't armed robbery if the gun ain't loaded.
I wonder if that's true.
Is that true? I don't know.
I know no idea.
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's good because you can't shoot anyone, but I believe the assumption that you are robbing them with a weapon is enough.
Yeah.
I know
if you were to behave a different way, if someone's attempting to rob you barehanded versus with a gun,
yeah,
I'm sure it doesn't matter whether or not it's loaded.
I think it's probably easier to like not a really long sentence because clearly there was no intent to kill, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But also,
don't do it.
As someone who's been in the car with couples who are fighting while driving, the arguing while intermittently giving directions is very, very relatable. It was very funny.
I know that the parole board people at the beginning, in one of them, said something about Hai not having bullets in his gun when he was doing the attempted robbery of whatever he got caught for.
That's why he kept getting parole so much.
Yes, that's why they were able to give him parole.
Yeah, because he wasn't hurting anyone. He clearly was never going to hurt anyone. He just kept being a jackass.
Yep.
We see that these directions were to lead Hai back to the Huggies in the middle of the road, and he picks him up.
You go through all that trouble and don't get any diapers. Like, what are you doing?
Have you ever been out on errands and then accidentally forgot one thing you really needed?
Yep.
I did that this week with toilet paper.
Oh, no!
Yeah, that sucked.
I've done that before, definitely, with, like, major things. I've just been like, well, guess I'm not getting that anymore.
Yep. I haven't had milk in, like, 2 weeks.
So we cut to Gale and Avelle, who are several beers deep at this point. I put watching opera. I'm not sure if they are. I just know that the subtitles said something like aria or something like that.
There was opera music for sure. I was wondering if they're watching an opera on the TV and they've just like pounded back like 15 Budweisers.
Very cultured.
And as they get back, Ed's laying down the law. They gotta be gone tomorrow because she needs to go see a doctor about getting shots for the baby. And if they're not gone by the time she gets back, it's gonna be bad.
They're gonna get gone.
Yeah. They're gonna get gone. And then Hai sits down. There's a long silence before Avelle finally breaks it, asking if the baby needs to go get his dip-tet.
What the fuck is a dip-tet?
She was saying it's tetanus and something else shot. Frances McDormand was during the.
It's diphtheria tetanus.
Okay.
Yes, there you go.
It's the nice, cool, painful one that usually leaves a funny scar.
Awesome. Yeah, I've never heard the abbreviated version of it.
I haven't either because people don't usually talk about it like that.
Nope.
Casual conversation.
So here's where Gale is, going back to the whole short leash wearing the pants conversation he was going before, where it's
that's a really good way of abbreviating it.
The short pants in the house.
Who has the short pants in the house? Me, I do.
The shortest pants.
Yeah.
basically saying that the partnership is not working out so good between Hai and Ed, and that the problem may be financial, but as it turns out, Gale and Avell are planning a bank job that they can offer a position to Hai. One last big one, one last job.
Yeah, the last job, that's always the one where someone dies.
Oceans...
Don't do it!
Oceans 15.
Oceans,
Bank.
Arizona.
Oceans, Arizona sounds like a legit movie, though.
Yeah, let's do it.
Ooh, Oceans, Arizona sounds like a resort.
Yeah!
Oh, it sounds really nice.
Let's go.
So Hai is definitely like, nope, can't do that. And Gale chides him thinking small, for, you're not going to live and die by the convenience store. Also, one thing, Gale's the only person in the movie that refers to him as H.I. instead of just Hai, I believe, which is so very...
It's formal.
So very John Goodman character in a Coen Brothers movie.
I do appreciate that they're also, like, laying out this whole plan of, like, oh yeah, we're going to make it big, we're going to get so much cash, and they're saying it, like, over the beer can pyramid. Like, yep, you guys sure are motivated.
I guess when you want to have a lot of money, it's kind of good for your wallet to be someone who mainly drinks beer.
Yeah.
Now you're not spending as much money that way.
I mean, it got me thinking, like, how come I've never made a beer can pyramid? Because really.
I think it's because none of your friends ever drink as much beer as you do. So we haven't had an opportunity to
You make me
combine our
sound like
beer
an
forces.
alcoholic then.
No, I mean, we don't drink beer at all. I don't drink beer at all.
Yeah.
So you can't really get a pyramid unless you're doing it yourself.
No.
Madeline's not an alcoholic. And a beer alcoholic is like the saddest kind.
Yeah, especially because I drink PBR like a disaster. I'm a disaster boat.
It's okay. We love disaster boats here.
The disaster boat is the cornerstone of this podcast.
Since episode 2.
So basically the plan is they want to knock over a hayseed bank that usually doesn't have much money, except on the day of the month where all of the hayseed farmers are cashing their checks, where there's more money there than flies at a barbecue, as
Ew.
Gale says. Was it flies at a
Yuckers.
barbecue? I feel like I didn't write that down correctly.
I don't know, I wasn't listening.
And that sounds like something that these characters would say.
That's also something that does happen. There are usually many flies at barbecues.
Unfortunately.
That's why I
Very
don't like potato salad, because I just have memories of potato salad bowls with flies everywhere, and I can't do it.
We covered ours in saran wrap at family picnics.
Yeah, because you should.
Also, there are flies all over my kitchen right now because my fucking roommates do their dishes and leave standing dirty water everywhere.
Ew!
Right?
Ah!
That's how we got mosquitoes when you're at our apartment.
Wonderful. Apparently all this info as well came from a Nixon advisor trying to earn points with the boys in the pen, which I don't know why we need that detail, but okay.
Well, I was a Nixon advisor in a jail in Arizona.
That might be, I don't know, that might be the joke.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, that might be a funny if you actually give a shit about any of that.
I
but
suppose so.
I don't know very much about Nixon except like Futurama and crook
Yeah.
stuff.
It's very obvious earlier in the movie, pretty early in the movie, but it's here that I made the note that I feel like Nicolas Cage's hair in this movie is like mine sometimes when because my hair doesn't really grow long, it kind of grows just
Up.
thicker pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's relatable.
And his hair gets more crazy the more stressed he gets in this movie, where I have that a lot because I'll often, in stressful situations run my fingers through my hair, so it looks like I've got a fucking explosion went off in my face.
That's a pretty common dude thing from what I know. Or at least, like, guys with hair the length that yours is, which is not like you don't have like a buzz cut or anything, and your hair isn't super long, like fourth Harry Potter movie long or anything. You're like third Harry Potter movie.
Yeah.
Third Harry Potter movie, that's a good way to describe my haircut.
It's a really good way to describe hair length, isn't it?
It kind of really is.
For people who are familiar with the Harry Potter movies, those are very evocative terms I'm using.
I think it might also work with people with long hair, because you think about Hermione, my hair is usually Hermione from like movies 1 and 2. It's not when she's got the fucking straightener.
Yeah. Hashtag millennial things.
Hai says it's going to be just cowardly if he up and leaves Gale, but Ed sees it as he's doing no favors to himself being just being here and rejecting who he is deep inside. So now is the point where
Moral conflict.
I wrote, I don't think any dialogue or any of the note that Hai writes here where, he's saying that he's basically saying in the note that, like, hey, this is something I gotta do. Hate me if you need to, because I understand where it's coming from. I'll send you money. Just, curse my name. Take the money and curse my name.
So, you could have been shittier about it.
And we learned that his first name is Herbert.
Ew.
I can understand why he goes by Hi.
Yeah.
It's like, I wonder what
I
the
think it's
I
like
stands for.
Herbert Irving.
I was thinking like Ignatius.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Something that's like just way too much.
That
Something Bible-y, yeah.
seems to be the theme.
So there are a few things that fade in and out as High is writing this note. We see a newspaper saying that Nathan Jr. has a $25,000 reward on his head.
That makes it sound like they want him dead, Joe, when you phrase it like that.
They have a
Bring us that
bounty out
baby
on this
thing.
baby.
Yeah. Dead or alive. Get the baby. He's a menace to society.
There's various shots of the Lone Rider riding. The clerk at the convenience store is sleeping, and he has the same porn magazine he was looking at earlier.
He's really enjoying that one. Taking it all in.
And the Lone Rider appears on the horizon near the trailer. He camps out as there is, for some reason, the sound of a baby crying in the background. I think because when this happens later in relation to him, it's him like reminiscing about his past or something.
I remember when I was a baby.
There's a lot of weird unresolved shit with the writer, but
yeah, Madeline wants to talk about.
I'll get into that later.
Okay, very good. So he's the main focus of the next scene as he barges right into Nathan Arizona's office, and the first thing that he says is that he has sort of such a gruff looking man, he has sort of a I don't want to say soft voice, but he's got sort of that pleasant, maybe pleasant,
good radio voice.
It's kind of like just a gentle tone.
Yeah,
that you don't expect.
You have flies.
Yeah, you have flies. Is the first thing he says. And here's where, yes, even though this gruff man has a very general name of Leonard Smalls.
That's a pretty good name.
It is, yes. He's a hunter of humans and occasional baby hunter.
And again, I would want that person to clarify, do you hunt babies or do you find babies?
He's Dog the Bounty Hunter, Kristen.
No, he's less scummy than Dog the Bounty Hunter.
And Nathan Arizona is he's like waving him off. I got the police handling this, and he's like, oh no, if you want to find an outlaw, you got to call an outlaw.
I'm saying your baby's an outlaw, sir.
And apparently the $25K just ain't enough for Mr. Smalls. He threatens to take the baby to the black market if he finds it, because, as we said earlier, he sold himself for $30K, and that was in 1954 dollars.
Where was this baby black market in Arizona? Miles outside of Phoenix.
Who knows?
This is like a Big Trouble in Little China again, where I'm like, all this human trafficking going on in Chinatown. That seems unsafe.
Right under people's noses. That's how it happens, Kristen.
Yeah, I guess so.
Then Leonard grabs a fly out of the air, like right in front of Nathan Arizona's face, and Nathan Arizona does not flinch at all. Bless his heart.
Miyagi-san!
So Nathan Arizona at this point as well sees this as basically a shakedown, and he tries to call the police. He thinks that he's under the impression that Leonard Smalls is the man who already found the baby and is just trying to shake him down. So he goes to call the police, and when he turns around, there's like a wind noise, and Leonard's already gone.
There he goes. Again, Shawshank. Like a fart in the wind.
There was also like smoke from a cigarette in an ashtray, but it looked like it left a smoke trail like a cartoon character.
Like a ninja.
For a second, I was like, wait, how ridiculous is this going to get?
He's smoke from Mortal Kombat. Here I go.
So we cut to Gale and Avelle waking High, because it's time to, first day of the rest of your life, let's go. But then there's a knock on the door. So can't go just yet. Go hide for a bit. Let me go handle this. And as it turns out, it is Glenn, who is in a neck brace at this point. I guess running into a cactus can really fuck you up.
He looks like he was in a car accident. Like, I feel like he's faking a little bit of this.
Yeah. He's being a little bit of a dick.
He is, yes. He came to officially fire High, and High's just like, yeah, kind of expected that. And then Glenn realizes, I think I've seen that baby before.
Oops.
That baby with the name that no one would tell us.
And he doesn't even want the $25,000. Here it comes back to this again, where he wants the baby for Dot, because Dot needs a fucking baby to cuddle, and they have until tomorrow when Dot comes to pick him up. Either that or High can go to jail.
I don't understand why so many people are like falling over themselves to suddenly be the person who will be to blame if they ever find the baby.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's kind of just desserts of being like, no, you guys keep that baby and I'll tell them where you live. But no, we're going to take the baby so they'll think we kidnapped him.
Glenn says that High will be getting a doctor's bill, and he hopes that he would pay it. And then drives off, for some reason giving High the option as well to just leave with the baby.
Yeah, they could just skip town and nothing would happen.
Yeah. No proof. Prove it!
Also, High tries to have it to keep Glenn's voice down, because obviously he's got fucking 2 convicts in the trailer with him, and when he turns back to see that one of them was like looking through the blinds, they both run away, and now here it is. Gale and Avelle found out, so they're taking the baby. Sorry, Hi.
MacGuffin.
They're taking the MacGuffin. And then we have a hilarious fight scene, I guess I would call it.
Yeah.
Because John Goodman and Nicolas Cage here don't have a lot of room to fight.
It's like the fight between the bride and Elle in Kill Bill.
Hey, they're both fighting in a trailer, because just anytime anybody does something, they end up hitting something else by accident.
Yep.
Isn't there like a moment where Gale has both of his arms lodged into 2 different walls? Like,
That sounds about right.
it's so good.
He hits his head on a light fixture, Gale does, and then when High starts to get the advantage, he goes to double fist crown the back of his head, and he scrapes his knuckles on the ceiling of that's oh god, skinning your knuckles, just I hate it. I don't want to
That's the worst.
Ugh.
Well, I'm glad I've never gotten into a fight.
Oh, I've just scraped my hands against like the textured walls.
Yeah, or like had to punch anything.
Yeah.
My hands are very, very soft. I want to keep them that way.
Gale also accidentally elbows a window when he winds back for a punch.
So, bad fight.
Yep, eventually just High gets up on Gale's back and is spun around the room, knocking over anything and everything, and then finally thrown through the wall into the bathroom. And
Then High gets up and he pokes Gale's eye out.
They do spin.
Like Kill Bill!
They spin for so long that it gets to the point where you're like, Gale, you should stop spinning. Like,
At that point, it's just like they're having fun.
yeah, at that point there was just too much momentum in it. They couldn't stop.
so they tie High to a chair at this point. I'm confused as to, I've never been tied to a chair, so I don't know exactly how it works, but they tie his wrists, and he's struggling, but he doesn't at any point, his ankles and legs are fine, and he doesn't at any point try to stand up with the
I
chain
guess it
tied
would depend
to
on
him.
the back of the chair that you're tied into, and whether or not you can finagle your arms.
You can stand up with the chair on you.
That's true.
No, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, just stand up. He never uses his legs.
No, he knocks himself over,
Mhm.
like Big Trouble in Little China.
They leave, but we see that one of them comes back. We don't see who. It's probably Gale comes back to make sure to grab Dr. Spock's baby book, because they need it.
Yep. Don't forget.
So High screams, because obviously this is a very horrifying thing that has just happened, that their stolen baby just got stolen.
The baby got double stole.
Baby got double stole, and we see Ed driving down the highway, and Gale and Avelle pass on her way back, and she just has the reaction of, good. High says he's sorry to Ed 5 times, and does High stuff 2 loaded pistols down his pants?
They're probably not loaded, let's be real.
Yeah.
No, we see him loading them.
Oh, okay.
So he's just stupid. But yeah, he goes. I remember seeing him with pistols, and then as he's walking back and forth out of frame, holding also a rifle. So he's ready to go commando to get this baby back.
Yeah, as he is
To
explaining
re-steal the baby.
as he is explaining himself to Ed here, he is just pacing back and forth in the background here, loads a pistol, puts it in his pants, walks out. I'm pretty sure he loads another pistol and puts it in his pants. Either that or he doesn't load the pistol before putting it in his pants the first time, takes it out, loads it, puts it back in, and then has the rifle.
Nice.
Yeah, I can go
either
either
way.
way.
Very prepared.
Now it's time to go get Nathan Jr. So we join Gale and Avelle back in the car, and this is a very low-key sort of scene, I guess, because they're just driving, and Gale's just like, man, I love driving, and Avelle's just like, I think the child had an accident on me, and he's not angry about it or anything, and they don't really... Yeah. It's just...
Well, we're stuck with this baby now. It's kind of...
They're just kind of
They're starting to love the baby, too.
Yeah. I don't really get what their plan is. I mean, I know they want to turn him in for the reward or whatever, but when they say no questions asked, I think... names will at least be involved, so they might catch on to the fact that they're escaped felons. I feel like going to the police to return a baby is not what you want to do when you're wanted by the police.
Yeah, maybe not.
Probably not, no. Yeah, because definitely Gale says that they want to get the 25,000 as well as knock over the hayseed bank here that they are, about to do or plan to do in a few scenes from now. And, I mean, they fall in love with the baby so much that I don't think they would want to turn it in after a certain point.
Yeah.
Just keep the baby.
2
Rob
men
a
and a
bank with
baby.
Yeah.
2 men and a baby, of course.
My 2 dads.
My 2 dads.
So they need to get some huggies for the kid because he had an accident on himself. So Avelle goes into some other convenience store, not the same one. It's some mom and pop shop looking place. They have a conversation, the old man clerk and Avelle do, about hey, do I need a safety pin or anything to get these diapers? And he's just like, oh no, these are self-sealing diapers, pretty much. You know,
They got the tape on them.
They're
They
the
got-
fancy kind.
wave of the future.
It's a very cute little combo. I
Uh-huh.
like it.
Never seen a diaper before. How do use?
And Yvel buys some balloons as well, asking if they blow up into any funny shapes. To which the clerk is like, if you think round is a funny shape.
And he gets them anyway. He buys several packs of them.
Well, you say bye, because then he pulls out his gun.
Yeah, doesn't actually buy them. Tells the clerk to start counting, and then count back down.
Yep, up to 825, and then back to 0.
And you find out in just a minute later that he has to do a pretty big number because he's not actually sure how high people can count when he encounters them. So he just hopes that they can count as high as he tells them to.
So they head back out to... we don't see them change the baby, but we assume it happens, I guess.
Well, they have to take him out of the car.
Yeah, they have to take him out of the car, and I thought they left him on top of the car because we see them back in the car driving, and Yvel's talking about, like, oh, look, I got balloons and shit, too, and they look back, and it's just like, well, wait a minute, where's Junior? And then another full 45 seconds of screaming.
Well, they did leave him on top of the car. I think just what happened was when they pulled away, it, like,
He
slid
tumbled off.
safely onto
Uh-huh.
the floor.
Joe, have you ever left something on top of your car?
Maybe? Like
I was very bad about that in high school.
a drink, maybe. That might have been the worst.
A couple of times I left a water bottle on top of my car. And then a couple of times I left one of my hoodies on top of my car. I've had people yell at me and be like, your shit's on top of your car. And I would reach out of the window and grab it and go, thank you.
My grandfather was notorious for leaving, not like because this was before the days of the like travel coffee mugs, like just literal coffee mugs on top of his car, and then getting to a stoplight, stopping, and having coffee rolled down the window. This is something that happened enough times that it became a family story.
And to be fair to me, Joe, you had a bad habit of leaving your car keys places. You left them in a GameStop once, I remember that. You left them on a shelf.
Maybe.
we went out to leave, and you went, where are my keys? And we went back in, you picked them up off the shelf, and we walked back out.
You know, well, I've gotten better about that, about keeping my keys places at least.
That's good.
The child is in the middle of the street now in the hot Arizona sun, wearing like a hoodie too, so, you know, hey, don't worry about him, he's fine.
It's an Arizona baby.
The subtitles at one point say screaming, comma, indistinct, so I made sure to put that in. The clerk gets up to 791 as he sees the car coming back. Like, he gets up and he's like, fuck this. He sees the car coming back and he's like, oh shit, 792.
Well, I mean, they did say that was going to happen.
Yeah, so, you didn't expect them to come back, but they come back, and they get the baby.
Ed is in her police uniform at this point. I'm not sure why. I don't think they...
I think they're driving the police car.
Oh, okay. That probably makes sense then.
Authority.
High's still trying to explain himself, but Ed is clearly, she is at her breaking point here where she can't see. She doesn't care about if the baby can't get back to them safe. She doesn't care about herself. She doesn't care about the relationship they're in. She doesn't even care to go on living if something happens to this baby, if it doesn't get back safe with them.
Yep, and Ed is suddenly like, maybe we should not have taken that baby. Like, now that I've had some time to ponder it.
And she realizes that basically, you know, I'm doing stuff as bad as you, and if we're doing the same kind of bad stuff, what good are we for each other?
Yeah, so they are probably not going to continue their relationship after all is said and done here. One last gambit. One last baby-related gambit.
One last job.
It's a very, like, kind of healthy conversation.
Yeah,
that they have,
very
which is
open and
nice, where
honest.
They're both like, we are both not good for each other because look at what fucking happened. We stole a baby.
Uh-huh.
Leonard arrives to the busted-up trailer of High and gets right in close, looking at the word fart still scribbled on the wall.
Yeah, that's how I feel about you.
As well as he finds the article about the Hayseed Bank almost immediately, so he knows exactly where to go.
And the heist is ready to begin.
Yeah, Gale and Yvel outside the bank, ready
And
to
the
knock
baby.
ready to knock it over.
3-man job.
They argue about leaving the baby in the car because if they get in there and get their fucking brains blown out, who's going to care for the baby? So let's bring the baby into the dangerous situation with us.
Perfect. That baby is learning so much.
As they go in, they tell the hayseed farmers inside to freeze and get on the ground. And then some fucking smart-ass hayseed farmers is like, well, which one is it, Sonny? Because if I freeze, I can't get on the ground. And if I get on the ground, I'm not going to be frozen.
They do the same exact thing in Meccano. All three of the people storm the dining car at the same time. One of them says freeze, one of them says put your hands up, and one of them says everyone on the ground. And all of the diners are like, which one do we do? And then Isaac and Miri are doing all day.
So everyone gets on the ground, and as Gale and Yvel are talking to each other, Gale is just immediately like, oh shit! What happened to the tellers? Because he didn't realize that they also got down on the floor.
Yeah, and there's like just a woman's voice. It's like, we're on the floor, sir. Right here, sir. Let us know what you need.
I put in the note of Gale chastises Yvel for using his name, but they are using code names, but I don't think we ever get to the code names, do we?
Or do you think that was a cover-up? Because they loudly say to everyone, we're using code names!
Oh, right. Okay, excuse me. Yes, that completely went over my head. As they were having this conversation as well about the code names, one of the tellers puts a ink bomb, or I assume a paint bomb, ink bomb. I don't know what the fuck it is exactly.
Yeah, it's an ink thing.
Yeah, it's basically a thing where, like, you know, you have a lot of money and someone's trying to steal it, the paint goes off all over the money.
Yeah,
Right,
this
right.
was actually the scene that I remembered. When I got to it, I was like, oh yeah, I definitely saw this with my dad, because I remember asking, like, hey, what's that thing? And being explained to, of like, oh, well, it makes the money not very usable and also really easy to track.
Hey, not a bad idea. So they tell everyone to stay on the ground for 10 full minutes. Anyone seen bipedal after 5 is wearing their ass for a hat, according to Gale.
Nice! Good solid threat.
So they drive away, and then, what happened to the baby?
Shit! Twice in a row.
And right as they realize that, the blue paint bomb goes off as well.
Yeah.
See, I didn't actually see the paint bomb getting put in the stuff, because I was like, what the fuck just exploded everywhere? And, like, I did not understand what was happening at all.
Here's where they all scream. Again, John Goodman screaming very, very loudly, doing what he does best in this movie, nearly hitting High's car, and they grab the baby book, leaving Gale and Yvel behind because they need that fucking baby book, which is blue now because it's got blue paint all over it. Junior is in the middle of the road, and then there's an explosion behind him. Here he comes. Fucking
Burn it.
Apocalypse Rider, Mad Max,
Yep, there he is. Mel Gibson.
who picks up Junior's baby carrier and, like, fixes it to the front of his bike.
Nice.
Yeah, he just, like, pops it in there like he has some little attachment.
Yeah,
does
he
this
has
a
a thing
lot.
to carry babies, so he can sell the babies.
Yeah. Because there's
And-
no vehicle safer for a baby than a motorcycle.
The front of a motorcycle, the hood ornament
of a
of a motorcycle.
of a vehicle that crashes pretty frequently.
With a man who is also often doing wheelies, as we see in this scene.
Yep.
He blows a hole in the windshield of High's car, which I don't know how powerful this shotgun is, but it blew out a pretty solid circular chunk of that windshield.
Yeah. So it's a good thing he ducked, because otherwise he would have been dead.
Yep. And then he throws a grenade into it, and it's a good thing that they got out of there because they would have been dead.
Yeah. So buy car.
And Leonard roars as the explosion happens, and then tries to run over High. High grabs the pedal thing, the foot pedal, not pedal, the foot rest. I don't know how the fuck motorcycles work.
Kickstand things.
Yeah, the
The
kickstand
vroom
thing.
vroom pedal.
The vroom vroom pedal, and gets kind of dragged along the ground for maybe like 20 feet before just being like, no, fuck it, I'm not going to be able to hold on.
Yep, forget that.
Ed, at this point, is just so incensed. She is walking right up to Leonard. Leonard pulls out, are they like darts? I don't even know what he grabs.
Like 2 daggers, because he throws them.
Right,
Or
yes.
he throws one of them. The other gets shot out of his hand.
Yes, they get shot out of his hand, which is enough to distract him as Ed just walks right up and grabs the baby from the carrier on the front of the motorcycle. She runs off with the baby and into the bank. Into the bank as well, and I like how somebody's just like, you might want to get on the ground, lady.
Yeah.
He follows with the bike, he's chasing her down an alley, and then here comes superhero High, smacking him with a 2x4 that knocks him clear off the bike.
Clothesline.
Clotheslines him, yes.
Moving
And-
clothesline.
And then he throws a knife into the 2x4 and then takes out fucking Gogo Yubari's chain weapon from Kill Bill. It doesn't have the ball on the end of it, so I guess it's just a normal chain with a weight on the end, I guess.
We just keep trying for the Kill Bill connections.
Rips the 2x4 from High's grip and then kicks his ass, basically. There's no chance. High has no chance to fight Leonard.
Yep.
Not going great.
Although at one point he does spit out one of his teeth into Leonard to invite further ass kicking.
Yeah, that was pretty ballsy.
Save the baby!
He's gonna need to, he needs to buy as much time as he can at this point. As well as he tries to crawl under like a car, but is pulled out by his ankle and then bear hugged. And I don't think we mentioned it earlier because here's where this happens. High has like a Woody Woodpecker tattoo.
Yeah, I was really confused about this part.
I don't know. I don't think it comes up. I thought this was going to be because it looks like Hai is trying to like pull the pins out of one of the grenades on Leonard's on his like fucking bandoliers or whatever, and he ends up pulling his shirt aside and showing that Leonard has the same Woody Woodpecker tattoo that Hai has.
Yeah, I had like this feeling, because this is how usually movies go, where he saw that and he recognized it. So I thought, oh, maybe they're going to solve this conflict because they know each other. Maybe there's like something about, but no, it literally never gets brought up again.
He's his dad.
They never, I mean, maybe I missed something, but the Woody Woodpecker thing is just weird and never mentioned.
No, because, I mean, I assumed that as soon as he saw that, because Hai breaks free of his grip, I think, at that point, or something. He manages to get far enough away, and is saying that he's sorry, so I think that he actually, maybe that was something he wanted to talk to him about, because Hai is all delirious, being like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, and then shows that he has the pin on his finger, and...
Yeah.
So maybe he was just like, I want to talk to you about the Woody Woodpecker tattoo, but whoops, I accidentally took
it was a little bit too late for that.
I mean, like, maybe it's stupid to think this, was thinking, like, oh, maybe they were in the same prison, and that's how they show it through a Woody Woodpecker tattoo, because that's the most badass tattoo you could really get.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it was just, that was really weird, and, like, I feel like we didn't get into Leonard's character very much, which, granted, I don't really care to, but there were some weird, like, threads that were never tied up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel as though he was, for the type of character that he was, of just being almost comical badass, we got enough out of him, I think. But there were those things like the Woody Woodpecker tattoo that was just like, what? And then we never go back to it.
And the fact that he was introduced in a weird prophetic Nick Cage dream.
Yeah.
Because like
fucking that Blade Runner now.
The very beginning of it, like when he was first introduced, I couldn't tell if that was a dream sequence or real life. Then I was suddenly like, oh, he's real life, apparently, because he's interacting with other characters.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't just a weird dream, man.
I mean, when Nick Cage's dream ends with the fucking Evil Dead shot, you think like, well, okay, that has to be a dream then, because it's all fucking crazy.
Yeah, but no.
Maybe Leonard was just the evil side of Hai, and he was just trying to the fact that he was able to kill him meant that he can put away his checkered past and live a good life with Ed.
God, I don't want to get that deep. I just want to know what the Woody Woodpecker means.
Explain the tattoo!
I just want to know what the Woody Woodpecker means.
But yeah, so Leonard can't get the grenade off of his chest fast enough, so he just blows up in the middle of the street.
Yeah,
and
super gross.
And his boot drops.
Yep.
With a foot in it, I'm sure, because there's no way the foot...
I am pretty sure grenades don't explode like that.
No.
Because there was a big fireball.
Yeah, there's usually not fire involved, I believe.
It's mostly shrapnel.
Yeah, the whole point of it is shrapnel.
So you're saying that instead of a
big
theatrical explosion, he should have just been torn apart in a terrible and violent fashion.
Yes. Yeah, and Hai probably also would not have made it.
Yeah.
He the way that he protected himself from the blast was he looked away. Like, he didn't try to get further away, he looked away, and that was enough. That saved his life.
So we fade now to a ladder and Nathan Jr. being brought back into the house, and they leave the now burned baby book behind.
Yeah, well, I mean, it still looks legible, so it's kind of them.
And things seem like they're gonna be all right, but then the lights come on, and Nathan Arizona's just like, what are you doing in my house? He sees the baby's home safe, but he has some questions for Hai and Ed, obviously. He still thinks that Leonard was behind it all along. He's like, he asks if they're working with him or if they know him, and he's just like, well, we saved the baby from that man. And then it's just like, all right, well, you're gonna get your $25K. Would you like that in credit for unpainted furniture? Because I could get you that.
Yeah, for tax reasons.
But Ed doesn't want a reward. Nope, she just wants to kind of, have a proper goodbye with the baby.
Which them staring longingly at the baby is enough for even Nathan to be like, oh, you were the ones who took him, weren't you?
Yeah.
And here's where Hai tries to take all the blame. It was his idea, but nope, Ed's not going to let that sit. It was their idea together. And
Nathan is surprisingly understanding for these people who kidnapped his baby.
Well, apparently, I mean, from what it sounds like, where Ed says that, she's infertile and isn't able to have a baby, Nathan's like, oh, well, we had to deal with that, and, so you just keep trying at it, because it might happen eventually, because as they were saying at the beginning of the movie, too, Florence was taking fertility drugs, so...
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Science will catch up eventually.
Yeah. And even if they can't have a baby, they still have each other.
But Hai and Ed are not sure that they're going to stay together.
But Nathan is very kind to point out that, hey, you know what? Human beings brought back my baby, so there must be some good in each of you.
Aww. It is really sweet.
Surprisingly heartwarming ending.
Nathan also tells them to go back the way that they came in, because they're not going out the front door.
Nah, take your ladder too, please.
And also to sleep on the idea of them breaking up, and that is when Hai has a dream that night. A dream of Gale and Avelle returning to prison, because that's the kind of people that they are, that they're not ready for the real world just yet. That Nathan Jr. would be receiving Christmas presents from an anonymous couple for years to come.
I feel like swelling music should be playing behind your final statement here.
Probably.
Ah.
That Glenn couldn't get anybody to believe his story, and that for making one too many Polish jokes, he got into trouble with the law, thanks to Officer...
I think it was Kowalski.
Kowalski, yes, thank you.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was like, yeah, it turns out when you tell shit jokes that are rude to people, people get mad at you.
And then they see really far into the future with Nathan Jr. being famous, hoping that they had some sort of influence on them, even though, probably not going to remember. This is going to be an awkward moment in his life when he does find out about this.
This is going to be one of the fun facts he tells about himself in, like, college icebreakers.
Yeah.
I was kidnapped once, I was on TV.
And then he doesn't make any friends, because that's a weird thing to bring to a college icebreaker. Yeah.
A little weird.
Save it for your friends.
And finally, he dreams about he and Ed far into the future being visited by children and grandchildren. Was it all a dream? Was it just wishful thinking? It seemed real. It seemed like them. And it seemed like their home. And if not Arizona, maybe Utah.
That was cute.
Yay!
It was a really, for as bananas as that was, it was a very cute movie.
Yeah, we had a whole conversation about how it wasn't so much a Nick Cage movie as a movie that happened to have Nick Cage in it.
Yeah. It was a very good movie that did not rely on Nick Cage's weird face.
His face just was there.
Yeah, his face was just there with his he had very luscious eyelashes. I don't know if that was noticed by anyone else. He has very lovely eyelashes in this movie.
Interesting.
Everything else is going wrong. That's going pretty right.
I mean, it's one of the Coen Brothers things that they usually do is this seemed to have, I don't know if I'd even call it a clear and concise ending, because it's kind of, most of the movies with the Coen Brothers seem to just have sort of a snapshot of just a time in a character's life, and there's not really a whole lot of, like, usually they end up in the same point that they were at the beginning, pretty much.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this one, I don't know if, the future dream or anything seemed like, I mean, technically they're still in the same place. They don't have a baby, but they're still, married and stuff, and they had this whole Odyssey adventure that they went on.
It's very what ify.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't even want to say that it threw me off, but yeah, it was still nice to have that. So that was it. That was Raising Arizona. Kristen did it. I don't know if I got a specific opinion out of you. What did you think of the movie?
I liked it.
Thanks.
Yeah. I don't have particularly strong feelings about it. Again, it was, like, as far as I can tell, my first Coen Brothers movie, so now I am further encouraged to check out more of it.
I'm sure you have seen something.
I assume so.
Like, I feel like they've made so much. They've had their fingers in every pie.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a lot of movies.
I mean, it's no Grease, but
you can definitely say that it's not Grease.
This movie is not Grease.
So now's the point in the evening where we list off all of the fun contact things where you can reach us. You can follow us on the Twitter machine at CWTApod. You can follow me at Octopus, that is AWKTAPUS.
You can follow me at FunnyGirlTM, like trademark.
And you absolutely cannot follow me.
Okay.
But I'm at Ignore the Robot.
See you later, Madeline.
You can find us on iTunes, on SoundCloud, on Stitcher Radio. Leave a rating, give a review, do whatever you feel like. You can also reach us, Gmail, cwtapod@gmail.com, where you can tell us about anything John Goodman related and the best way to steal a pack of diapers.
It's a skill to have.
Yeah. It's getting harder and harder every year.
Mm-hmm. Do your part.
So this should be, when this goes up, this is the 2-week deadline then of entries for the Gem Season 1 Kim Tacuber. I hope they've been coming in. Again, we are recording this before even Glitter and Gold goes up, so I don't know.
You motherfuckers.
So you better be doing something. We better be fucking swimming in it.
It's time to pay the piper.
And I mean, we don't record the same day that episodes go up, so if you actually have any late submissions at this point, if you wanted to do it and you forgot and you're listening to the episode today and you're like, oh shit.
Even if you think it's too late, just do it.
Just do it. Even if you're listening to this 2 years in the future and you're like, oh fuck, I have something I want to say about Gem. Fuck it. Send it in. It'll be great.
We want to hear about it. You'll be just in time for the 2nd anniversary of the Kim Tacuber.
Every little bit counts. So next week, we are moving into a very scary territory for the podcast, Kristen. It is the decade of 1990.
Ah! I don't want to go back. I've already been there. Wasn't great.
Well, don't worry, Kristen. We're bringing Madeline along with us, so she's gonna help guide us through the 90s.
Good.
Oh, yes, I will.
I'm not sure I can handle it, but then again, we gotta kind of cross that bridge when we come to it. I might just end up hyperventilating for the entire recording of breathing into a paper bag.
Coming Up is one of my favorite movies.
So we'll be okay. I believe in Madeline.
Yeah.
Yep, I believe she will lead us well. So then for the Can We Talk About podcast, my name is Joe.
I am Kristen.
I'm Madeline.
And join us next time when we take that big step into the 1990s.
Checks in the mail.